Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I hope you are having a fantastic day so far. My day is going quite good, although this morning was quite literally freezing. It was so cold outside. I think it was -3 or -4. I had to scrape the windscreen of the car when I was feeding the chickens and the rabbits and everything outside. My hands and my feet were, they were so sore. And then I came back inside and I didn't even have to turn the light on. My nose was glowing so red that it lit the way for me perfectly. So yeah, it is getting cold. I need to get the winter gear out this morning after I've done these videos because I have slacked big time on that. Anyway, I want to start today's video by apologizing to anyone I've caused permanent ear damage to with my intros of late. I did not realize how loud they were until you guys pointed it out to me in emails and numerous comments. I actually went back and listened because I usually have my volume on my headphones really low, and I thought to myself, it sounds pretty loud, but it should be okay. I didn't even think to turn the volume up to hear how loud it was. I turned it on. I watched back one of my videos with all the volume and that on full, and I nearly fell off my chair. I am so sorry. I really did not mean for it to be that loud. I'm trying to work it out and figure it out so it's not as loud for you. I'm so sorry. Anyway, today we are reacting to, aside from accents, how do you know someone is American? This goes for everywhere. If you can tell by anybody's mannerism where they're from, let me know what they are down in the comments. If you were to look at me or see me, where would you say I was from if you didn't know I was from South Africa? I'd love to know. But yeah, we're gonna be checking that out. But before we do, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you're feeling extra frisky, you may as well give the video a like as well. I do have a Buy Me a Coffee page and a Patreon page linked down in the description if you want to help support the channel. That'll be freaking awesome. And speaking of Patreon, to all my Patreons watching this video, I do apologize for the lack of uploads on Patreon. There'll be a video going up today explaining exactly why. And also, I'll be uploading every single day on Patreon, at least one video a day, of all the videos that could copywritten here, or songs, or anything that will get copywritten on YouTube will be going on to Patreon. So if you're interested in seeing more music and more reactions, feel free to check out Patreon. And without further ado, let's check out, aside from accents, how do you know someone is American?
Besides their accent, what's one way you know a tourist is American? When visiting Paris, my wife and I learned they don't seat you at restaurants. You just walk in and sit down at an available table. We figured it out after standing.
This took me a while to figure out here in Europe as well, because in South Africa you wait there and they'll ask how many, you give there and they'll seat you. Here you just walk in and sit in most places anyway.
Around at the entrance a few times. Then we started noticing other American tourists doing the same. While in Korea, I was casually talking to a friend on the bus in regular speaking voice. Not even a minute later, the lady in front of us turns around in her seat and says,
"This is reminding me of this bloody intro. It's gonna haunt me. I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was so loud. I am a loud person, and I was so embarrassed. I went back and listened to it, and I was like, holy crap, that's horrendously loud."
Says very casually, "Please calm down. I guess American volume is noticeably louder. Not everyone, but in general if you are at a restaurant or a bar you immediately can hear who's American. When they introduce themselves they never say they're from America, mostly the state city they're from. Saying hi, how are you to the barista, servers, retail workers,
I do this as well. And that's true about they say what state and that they're from, because mostly everybody who's emailed me from the States, I get quite a lot of emails, and they'll always say, it's never like, John from America. It's always John from town and state in America, and not America, but town and state, which I think's awesome. I love that. I love knowing, I love seeing, because I've got my mouse pad here as a big map, so I like seeing where everyone's from. So I'll always look down and be like, that's where that is. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool that they do that.
Country doesn't quite have that culture, so I find it really sweet. The absolute fearlessness of asking anyone on the street about anything. Being called African American while living in the Netherlands. A black mate of mine from London was once haltingly referred to as a British African American by a tourist.
British African American.
Went to Russia once, and they knew because I smiled too much. Those pearly whites are a one-way ticket to the gulag.
I love the replies.
My dad, a born and raised Egyptian, is a proud American immigrant. When we go to visit family in Egypt he wears cargo shorts, a Hawaii shirt, a hat with Nick on it, and speaks English to everyone even though he speaks perfect Egyptian Arabic. When I went to Italy with a friend, I couldn't figure out why everyone greeted me in English before I said a word. I don't wear running shoes outside of the gym. I dress pretty posh. I can't remember the last time I owned a baseball cap. And I try to have a basic grasp on the local language. How can they tell I'm American? My friend told me, it's because you're smiling at them. Some of you else are way more polite than expected. Whenever I hear someone say mom, I know they're American. Like one time I was in Lidl's and there was an American family asking someone who worked there if they sold cell phones, and when the woman said they didn't, they were all, "Oh, okay. Thank you for your time, mom. Have a great day," which is much more cheery than the average.
My son and daughter, when we were in England, if they didn't know someone's, like it was always ma'am or sir. That's just, even I am now. I'll be like, "Thank you, sir," if I don't know the name or something. I think it's the way I was raised, though. My dad was like army and that, and he was really strict on manners. I'm really strict on manners as well. Not to the point he was, but if I don't know, manners maketh the man, don't they? So yeah.
Scott. Till we have a monopoly on baseball caps. Trying to interact with strangers in public areas.
I can't wait for that.
Most American tourists I've come across are really friendly and talkative. They always seem to be genuinely stoked to be here, haha. They get amazed by old things. Girlfriend used to work on a farm and an estate in the UK, and would often have Americans in awe of the old buildings. One once said some of these buildings are older than my country. That's why we find it interesting, to be honest.
Yeah.
And my mom is from England, so we've visited the UK constantly since I was a kid.
I
I
love
still
the old
find the
buildings
old
and that.
buildings really interesting. If you see an American in Japan, they will frantically look for public trash cans. The absence of trash receptacle is something unfounded in the US, and we become confused at the idea of having to hold it for extended periods of time.
That's something that would shock me as well. Like even here in Slovakia, there's quite a lot of bins that you can chuck your stuff in while you're walking around. I would be like confused as well. Like, where the hell are the bins?
I lived in Japan when the World Cup was there in 2002. There were plentiful trash cans before the World Cup. Not as many as in American cities, but quite a few. But a few weeks before the games began, they pulled out a substantial number of trash cans out of terrorism and hooliganism concerns.
okay.
They never came back. It was really disconcerting. Asking for the restroom. I mean, obviously the accent was then heard too, but in my little village in Scotland I was in the pub and a woman politely asked the barman where the restrooms were. He didn't know WTF she was on about, and then it obviously clicked. "You mean the toilet?"
Yeah,
and it's
toilet.
juiced backer. Tipping. Americans will try to tip everyone. Even in countries where tipping isn't a thing is considered a serious.
This nearly caused an argument on Saturday for my mother-in-law's thing. I think it nearly caused an argument anyway. I was quite... we had quite a big meal. There was 8 of us, and we all had mains, and I had 2 double espressos and 2 non-alcoholic beers. It was quite a substantial bill. And when it came to pay, my sister-in-law was like, "Jono, I'll pay on my card. You just transfer me the money." I was like, "Yeah, that's fine," because we went half-half. I was going to do everything, but they would have got angry. And then when it came to tipping, I said to my missus, "I don't have any cash on me. Can I have this much cash?" And everyone looked at me as, apart from my missus, and they're like, "You can't leave that much." I was like, "Why?" The woman serving us, there's only one of them. She did such a good job, really polite. We didn't have to wait for anything really. She was so good. I've worked as a waiter and as a barman, and so has my missus. So we sort of know where and they were like, it nearly caused a bit of a argument. They said I was tipping way too much, but I always tip because I've been there and I've done that. I know how people rely on those tips.
Insult. I'm half Japanese and I live in Japan. Basically, we automatically assume any white person is American. They're looking for a store open at like 11 p.m. Even if in most European countries stores close at like 7 to 8 p.m. And Americans will be wearing sneakers. Extra ice in their drinks. This one is funny to me just because as a dual citizen US dad UK mum, I see both sides. Americans are obsessed with ice.
I love
but at the
ice.
same time Brits seem to miss the benefits of it. First time I took my wife to England she was like, "WTF is the deal with Brits and no ice? Or if they actually give you ice, it's one cube lol."
and it melts before you
They
get
are
to the
very
table.
outspoken. At my local aquarium the other day I heard a lady very loudly say, "Have the penguins gone to bed? Can we not see them? Y'all, the penguins have gone to bed, y'all missed them." Oh, typical southern attitude. I live in the south, this is common.
I love
I
the
hear
southern
that us
accent.
Americans can easily be spotted in the airport by the fact usually we're used to taking off our shoes and baseball caps and shorts. I'll
That's
make
me.
sure to bring my finest collection of snapback trucker hats with me to Europe on my vacation this summer.
In the summer, I've got shorts on and one of these hats. Thanks to you guys for sending me hats in the Amazon wish list as well. I've got like a hat now for, I think, every day of the week +2. So I could wear a different hat every single day. And yeah, I love my baseball caps and shorts. Yeah, it's not only an American thing.
University spirit wear, cargo shorts, free t-shirts from events with ads and text all over them, and for the older Americans they always seem to just kinda stand in the middle of everything looking around. Holy crap, that's such an incredibly accurate description of us in the wild. I was at a beach where music was playing and Sweet Caroline came on. I told my sister, we are both Hispanic, but I live in the US. Hey, if you are wondering who here is from the US, you are about to find out. 10 seconds later, PAPA. British people love that song.
Everyone loves that song.
Confidence. I have never seen someone walk so confidently in the wrong direction like an American can.
The wrong direction.
You're dang right we will. In Scotland, baseball cap, bum bag, shorts and sandals halfway up Ben Nevis.
Hey man.
As an American, I'm told we're loud.
I'm loud.
Apparently, where my in-laws live in Brazil, they consider us relatively quiet, which is nice.
Did you guys see that fly? Flies are meant to be gone now. And they've sprayed muck on everywhere, but now that there's frost, because they're ploughing up all the fields and that, again, this time of year, I don't know if they do it for the winter, I don't know. But anyway, there's so many flies. Even Kat's mum phoned her yesterday and said, hey, have you guys got loads of flies by you? How did they even get in? The windows are closed. Sorry, rant. I hate flies.
Confused cause most of this stuff applies to me and I'm from the UK. Nobody actually noticed when I was in the US till I opened my mouth. Americans recognize other Americans in most countries because they smile at strangers on the street.
I think that's the best. That's an awesome thing to be known for. Sorry for pausing again. You smile at people on the street. That's lovely. I love that.
Conversations with family at a level appropriate to a rock concert. Hey Sandra, would ya look at this? To quote from my second highest comment to date, I was traveling in Bali, Indonesia and caught my reflection in the window of a storefront. Big old white guy, 6 feet 4 inches, 230 plus lbs, bright blue and orange Hawaiian shirt, shorts, farmer's tan, USS New Orleans LPH 11 bow cap, and sandals with black socks.
Oh no, 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 not the socks.
Carved elephant statuette. It was 11 a.m. and I was drunk.
Not the sandals and socks, because I wear like sliders, like Adidas sliders all the time as well. Shorts, sliders, and if I can go barefoot, I'll be barefoot, but I never wear sliders with socks or sandals with socks.
Their Canadian flag patch is sewn on upside down. Okay, so I got off the train in Ghent, Belgium and was super hungry, so decided to get a muffin at the coffee stand. The nice cashier said something to me in Flemish and I answered in German. I'd been in Germany the past couple of weeks and it just kind of naturally popped out. He responded in broken German, including a bunch of hand waving and pointing and random gestures. We successfully completed our transaction and he turned to the guy making the coffee and said, in entirely unaccented American English, "Hey, could you hand me that?" I looked at him and said, "You know, actually I'm an American and speak fairly fluent English." He stared at me for a second and said, "That's not funny. It actually really was." This is going to sound made up just because of how ridiculous this is. I wouldn't believe it myself hadn't I have seen this happen myself. Back when I lived in Poland, there was a couple standing in front of me in the line at a McDonald's who were outraged that McDonald's didn't accept US dollars as a form of payment. But that's McDonald's ridiculous. Is American. Actual quote from the guy. Just a reminder, this was in Poland. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they were American.
That's outrageous.
They buy peanut butter. It sounds very weird, but everyone who buys peanut butter where I work turns out to be American.
I got tipped when I was working in the UK at a pub. I got tipped in dollars and I thought it was freaking awesome because I'd never seen American dollars in real life. And I got tipped, I think it was like $75 or something. It was awesome. I think I may still have those notes somewhere. I think I do. I think they might be in one of my like luggage bags from when we moved over here. I thought it was awesome.
When they comment about the driving. It's 80 degrees out there. How many miles? That's £2. Honestly, it really isn't their fault. Imagine coming to America and saying it's 30 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
I was in France once in a very famous and classy art gallery and saw a wildly overweight sweaty man with a shirt on that reads something like vegetarians are just bad hunters
I
or
love that
something along
shirt.
those lines with a huge picture of a dinosaur. I turned to my friend and said that's definitely an American. Sure enough, he then called his kids over in a very southern twang and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I love that shirt.
It would have been
Vegetarians are
funnier
just
if
bad
he'd called
hunters.
his kids over in flawless Parisian French. Absolutely no problem with long car bus drives.
Yeah.
Standing on a street in Beijing and a woman started waving from across the street, so I waved back. Then she shouted good to see another American and I shouted back I'm from New Zealand. She gave an exaggerated shrug and kept walking. Beige cargo shorts and very white legs. I don't have much experience in foreign countries as an American, but I heard we measure distances in time.
Yeah.
It is 4 miles to our destination versus it takes 7 minutes to our destination. That's because if you live any American city, I'm in the Seattle area, you know that actual distance doesn't have jack crap to do with how long it'll take to get somewhere. The way they like to say, oh you call this X, we call that Y in America or something along those lines. The only one of those that I've heard that baffles me is lemonade. Sprite is not lemonade, you can't tell me otherwise, and I think you are wrong and your life is wrong. You have been visited by the wealth.
The distance thing, I was moaning about our Croatian drive because it took us, all in all, with all the stops and that, from here, from our door, it's meant to take 10 hours. And with traffic and everything, it took 13 hours. And I was moaning. I was like, oh, it's so far, so far. And a few, like you guys have commented and been like, that's nothing. 10 hours is nothing. And I was like, yeah, but for me it is. And when I drove from the UK to here in Slovakia, it's supposed to take 21 hours and took us like 30 or something ridiculous. I can't even remember. That felt like crazy to me because I did it non-stop. And then you watch these YouTube videos of where they go from one place to another. Like I watch some reptile shows and then they're like, oh yeah, it's only a 2-day drive. I'm like, holy crap, man, that for me is crazy. But yeah, I can't wait to visit and go on the nice journeys because I do love driving. I like driving, especially in new places and wide, long, open roads. I don't like driving when it's bumper to bumper traffic in cities. I hate that, like in London. But I can't wait for the long driving to see new places because the excitement of the destination is going to help fuel the drive as well. You know what I mean? I'll enjoy the drive as well, seeing the scenery, filming. I'm going to shut up now because I can't wait. I'm not sure it's going to happen in 2024, but it's going to happen as soon as we can. It's just the financial thing. We'll figure it out. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I know it's been a long one. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'm sorry for the shouting again. I will try and stop it. I'll go from back here from now on. Anyway, have a lovely day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.